Okay, let's get in to the hardest choice of the year, top 5 albums of the year. So, this was difficult because it wasn't the best year for all-around projects.
Mm.
So, I'll just go through my 5. Number 5, The Great Escape by Larry June and The Alchemist. Early in the year, but Porsches in Spain, Palisades, California, Earthquake, 87 Earthquake, or I think that's the title. The beats on these are so damn good. And Larry June, even though he kind of raps in the same tone in every song, it didn't get old on this album at all. And his lines he's just very original with like the finance lines and like getting healthier and this stuff. It's hilarious. Number 4, I Now Know by Asar, a man that we had on our show a couple weeks ago. And in preparation for the interview, I kept listening to the album, and I'm like, oh shit, this is one of the best albums I've heard this year. Don't Date Rappers, my favorite song from it. The one with Chris Patrick is amazing. I'm trying to remember these off the top of my head. But it's a great project.
Mhm.
Number 3, Larger Than Life, Brent Faiyaz. Me and Sam have talked about this at length. The beats on it are all amazing. It was kind of a surprise drop because he was doing singles, but like I didn't know this was coming. And Brent Faiyaz is amazing. I can't say any more words about him. The album's great. Number 2, this one we talked about earlier that had a disappointing reception because it was marketed as the album that was going to be songs all built for the summer, and the singles were very summer-like songs forever. But this album really connected with me while I was on my trip after graduation. So I got number 2, Que Termine, Que Tronada, Amine. I love just so many tracks from it. So it had to end up at number 2. It had so many songs on my top of my rap. And number 1, it's been here since like February or March, whenever I first heard it, has not left. And Jordan Ward, thank God for you, sir. This is one of my favorite albums of the last 5 years. It could be number 1 of the last 5 years. I really love this project. I can't talk
What was
anymore
your
about
What was
it.
your second again?
Second was Que Tronada, Que Termine.
Would you consider that a rap album?
Yeah, it's a rap album.
Okay, I was gonna say your top 3 weren't rap albums, but technically number 2 could
Almost,
be. But I do think it's
and Jordan's kind of rap, but he's not rap.
Mhm.
Like he raps some songs. He's kind of like Anderson .Paak, where he's mostly a
Mhm.
singer, but when he raps, it's fun.
The reason I ask, and
That
Joey,
was
I
a
can hear
great
your
list.
take too. Yeah, it's a great list.
Thank you.
And what I was gonna say was, I think 2023 was, again, I think we know this, not even a think, we know hip hop was a slow year. So at least for my list, there's not a single hip hop album on here. Adam, I mean, you had a couple, I think, but a lot of R&B was breaking through. But how do you think 2023 was for hip hop, at least, Joey?
I think it was all right, like strong in the underground, weak
Mhm.
in the mainstream. I guess Utopia and Gunna had good albums, but I don't know. I just overall felt that we were lacking a lot of those big mainstream hits that were like quality. Numbers, obviously, people are talking about how numbers are down across the board. But so yeah, when that conversation is happening of like, is hip hop dying? I think it's exclusively tied to the mainstream. But that being said, overall, I do think it was just like an okay year. Like last year,
Mhm.
was really really good, and I don't think enough people remember or realize that. And I think it's just kind of an off year because last year was so good.
That is a good emphasis. Mainstream, I'm talking about, not the underground. They're doing well, and even independent space.
Yeah.
For my top 5, I'm gonna have in 5th. Let's do Dominic Fike's Sunburn. Already explained a great album. Love Dominic Fike. Number 4 is Caroline Polachek's Desire, Want to Turn Into You. One of the best pop albums I've heard, not only this year, but in a long time. Pop was almost kind of getting in a stalemate, but a lot of cool and great artists are morphing and pushing the boundaries. Carolina's one of them. And she even collaborated with Kanye on his like Yeezus era during that time, him trying to get those synthy pop sounds.
Mhm.
Number 2, number 3, I'm gonna say Lana. What's the album called? Did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Great album, love that. Number 2 is Boy Genius,
Cool
the
title.
record. Yep, it is long, right? I want to make sure I got that one right.
It's a
Number
long
2,
one.
Boy Genius, the record, and then number 1, Paramore. This Is Why. And this list was really easy for me. It wasn't
Nice.
hard at all. Once I heard these albums, I knew they're gonna be in my top 5 forever, and they're not changing.
Nice. That was a good list. Again, I need to like re-listen to everything because my opinion, I feel like, is always changing.
Mhm.
The Lana
Same
album
here.
easily could have been like top 3 for me. Olivia Rodrigo, I thought, dropped a great album this year. Like
Yes,
a lot
yeah.
of great albums coming from like other genres.
So what
But cool.
we got in the top 5?
My top 5. Number 5, I got Baggy Weather by Toby Lou.
He's
I'm a
gas.
big Toby Lou fan. He drops a ton of projects in the past year. And he's been in my top 10 or top 20 every single year for the last like 2 or 3 years that he's dropped, because he just consistently is like toying with new sounds and getting really creative. Like, I wouldn't classify his work as hip hop. It's not R&B. Like, there are tracks where it'll just be like him singing over an acoustic guitar, and then it transitions into like a remix sort of beat. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, Toby Lou, he's great. Number 4, Glaucoma 2 by Key Glock. I've been spinning this album over and over and over again. Shout out Key Glock, like no features on this, which is crazy. And yeah, just great lines over great production. Next I got This Is Why, Paramore. Shout out shout out Paramore. Sam knows.
I gotta listen now.
It's great. Paramore's great. Number 2, I got The Patience by Mick Jenkins.
That was number 6
for me. Almost put Smoke Break in one of my top songs. The album's great, like probably the best lyrical rap album to me personally. And then number 1, Never Enough, Daniel Caesar. Been my album of the year like almost ever since the drop, so tough to beat.
That one's like number 6 for me. That one is so close. That was a really great album by Daniel Caesar, for real. He does not get enough love. Surprised he didn't get any Grammy nominations, unless he did, and I just don't know. That's a shame. That really is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Toby Lou's fire. I think I saw him open for Kyle years ago, so I've always had a liking for him.
Oh.
I'm surprised he was on your list, Joey. Toby Lou.
I feel like I'm like friends with him, but not actually. Like he follows me and like will interact with me, and we've DM'd a couple times. But so I think of him as like I feel like I know him, but I obviously don't. So it's I don't know. I'm always gonna support. I always love his music. So
I've seen him in your top rankings, and you're Wrapped every year.
Oh yeah, like literally every year he'll be in there.
Yeah,
and not just because he follows me or whatever. Like I just genuinely like love his music. So
yeah, that's the fun part about Twitter, interacting with artists you like. I mean, the artists sometimes don't understand how much that means to the listener. It makes you feel more a part of their journey.
100%.